Welcome to Tecnia TV. Hello everyone, I am Neha Gupta, Assistant Professor from Department of Management, Tecnia Institute of Advanced Studies. Today, I will be delivering a lecture on marketing environment. Marketing environment is the combination of external and internal factors and forces which affect the company's ability to establish a relationship and serve its customers. According to Philip Kotler, a company's marketing environment consists of the factors and forces outside of marketing that affect marketing management ability to build and maintain successful relationships with the target customers. Now, the marketing environment of an organization consists of an internal and external environment. Now, as the name suggests, the internal environment of an organization is internal to the organization. Now, as the name suggests, the internal environment of an organization is internal to the organization and external is outside the organization. The internal environment is company specific environment which includes owners, workers, machines, materials, etc. And the external environment is further divided into two components, micro and macro environment. The micro or the task environment consists of factors engaged in producing, distributing, promoting, etc. The macro or the broad environment includes the larger societal forces which affect society as a whole. The macro environment is made up of certain components like demographic, economic, physical, technological, political, legal and socio-cultural environment. While the internal environment can be controlled, the business has very less or no control over the external environment. As the environmental factors are beyond the control of a firm, its success depends to a very large extent on its adaptability to the environment. That is, its adaptability to properly design and adjust. That is, its ability to properly design and adjust internal variables to take advantages of the opportunities and to combat the threats in the environment. Now, let's study the internal and external environment in details. Firstly, the internal environment. The internal environment of the business includes all the forces and factors inside the organization which affects its marketing operations. These components can be grouped under the 5 M's of the business, which are men, money, machinery, materials and markets. Next we have is the external environment of the organization, which constitutes factors and forces that are external to the business and on which the marketeer has little or no control. The external environment is further divided into two types. Firstly, we have is the microenvironment. The micro component of the external environment, also known as the task environment, comprises of external forces and factors that are directly related to the business. These includes suppliers, market intermediaries, customers, partners, competitors and the public. Firstly, we have customers. Customers basically comprise of all those who purchases the products of the organization. A company may have different categories of consumers like individuals, households, industries, commercial establishments, governmental and other institutions, etc. As we have the consumer market, it refers to the individuals who buy goods and services for their own personal use or use in their household, whereas business markets includes those that buy goods and services for use in producing their own products to sell in further market. After customers, we have suppliers. Suppliers are those which include all the parties which provide resources needed by the organization like raw materials required. It is very risky to depend on a single supplier for an organization because a situation like strike, lockout or any other production problem with that supplier may seriously affect the company. Hence, it is always advised to have multiple sources of supply which often reduces the risks. Next we have is the market intermediaries. The market intermediaries includes middlemen such as agents, merchants who help the company find customers or close the sales with them. It includes parties involved in distributing the product or service of the organization. The marketing intermediaries are vital link between the company and the final consumers. A dislocation or disturbance of this link or a wrong choice of this link may cost the company very heavily. Next we have the partners. Partners are all those separate entities like advertising agencies, market research organizations, banking and insurance companies, transportation companies, brokers, etc., which conduct businesses with the organization. Nextly, we need to discuss the competitors, which are a very important part of microenvironment. Competitors are the players in the same market who target similar customers as that of the organization. To remain competitive, companies must consider whose their biggest competitors are while considering their own size and position in the industry. In order to be successful, companies should develop a strategic advantage over their competitors. Next we have is the public. Public is made of any other group that has an actual or potential interest or affects the company's ability to serve its customer. For example, financial publics can hinder a company's ability to obtain funds, affecting the level of credit a company has. Another group of public like media public include newspapers and magazines that can publish articles of interest regarding the company and editorials that may influence customers' opinions. Another like government public can affect the company by passing legislation and laws that put restrictions on the company's actions. So far we have discussed the micro environment of an organization. The next we need to discuss is the macro component of the marketing environment, which is also known as the broad environment. It constitutes the external factors and forces which affect the industry and the business. The macro environment can be further divided into variable parts such as demographic environment. The demographic environment is made up of the people who constitute the market. It is characterized as the factual investigation and segregation of the population according to their size, density, location, age, gender, race, and occupation. All these demographic variables affect the demand for goods and services. Next we need to discuss is a very important macro environment variable, that is economic environment. The economic environment constitutes factors which influence customers' purchasing power and spending patterns. These factors include the GDP, the GNP, interest rates, inflation, income distribution, government funding, subsidies, and other major economic variables. Economic conditions, economic policies, and the economic system are the most important external factors that constitute the economic environment of a business. For example, in a developing economy, the low income may be the reason for the very low demand for a particular product. Next is the natural environment. The physical environment, also known as the natural environment, is the environment in which the business operates. This includes the climatic conditions, environmental change, accessibility to water and raw materials, natural disasters, pollution, etc. Geographical and ecological factors such as natural resources endowments, weather and climatic conditions, location aspects in the global context, port facilities, etc. are all relevant to the businesses. Geographical and ecological factors also influence the location of certain industries. For example, the industries with high material index tend to be located near the raw material sources. Similarly, climatic and weather conditions affect the location of certain industries like cotton and textile industry. The depletion of natural resources, environmental pollution, and the disturbance of the ecological balance has caused a great concern. Governmental policies aimed at the preservation of environmental purity and ecological balance, conservation of non-replenishable resources, etc., have resulted in additional responsibilities and problems for businesses, and some of these have the effect of increasing the cost of production and marketing. Our next very important macro environment variable is technological environment. The technological environment constitutes innovation, research, and development in technology. Technology is one of the biggest sources of threats and opportunities for the organization, and it is very dynamic in nature. Technological factors sometimes pose problems. A firm which is unable to cope with technological changes may not survive in the long run. Next we have is the political and legal environment. The political and legal environment includes laws and governmental policies prevailing in the country. It also includes other pressure groups and agencies which influence or limit the working of a business in the society. Next we have the social-cultural environment. The socio-cultural environment is the aspect of macro environment which is made up of different lifestyles, values, cultures, prejudices and beliefs of the people. This differs in different regions. For a business to be successful, its strategy should be one of that which is appropriate in the socio-cultural environment. Next we have is the international environment. The international environment is very important from the point of view of certain categories of business. It is particularly important for industries directly depending on the exports or imports. It is particularly important for industries directly depending on imports or exports. For example, a recession in foreign markets or the adoption of protectionist policies may help the export-oriented industries. Similarly, liberalization of imports may help some industries which use imported items but may adversely affect import competing industries. Similarly, international bodies like WTO, IMF, WHO, ILO, etc. have a major impact on the influencing policies and trade of many countries, especially India. So far, we have discussed the components of marketing environment. So in today's lecture, we have discussed the components of marketing environment. Thank you. In order to watch more videos, subscribe Tecnia TV.